fast chops. Yeah, hope I can do it. Let's see. How to play fast when you don't have any fast chops, okay? This is something that happens to all guitar players once in a while. I've seen it happen. I've seen guys get humiliated. It's horrible. It's horrible to watch. And it happens not just to guitar players too, okay? But it especially is a problem that befalls guitar players because playing the guitar is extremely difficult. Stringed instruments present a unique challenge, which is you have to cross strings to play notes all over the place. All right. It's a lot different than playing saxophone or playing piano. Those guys are more or less just kind of pushing buttons, and the quicker you can push the buttons, the faster that you can play. Okay. Now, on the guitar, though, oh man, it takes 10, 15 years of constant practice to get up to that level where you just have clean technique all over the place and you can play a true prestissimo, no problem. Okay, there's almost nobody in the world who can do that, short of like the elite among the elite, okay? For the rest of us, though, we have to learn, like, how do we get the most out of our limitations, okay? So here's a couple of things. Number one, this should be very obvious, but for the novices out there who just refuse to acknowledge this reality, you have to know the changes to the tune. You just have to. There is no way around that. That is cardinal rule number one. Do not think that you are going to show up and not have the technique and not have the changes down. Okay, don't set yourself up for failure like that. That is a horrible idea. Okay, Cherokee is a song that has kind of a lot of changes. Cherokee isn't as hard as people think that it is, but Cherokee is a difficult tune to play. Okay, there are a lot of other jazz songs that are played fast that have simpler chord changes. Impressions, John Coltrane, that has only 2 chords. Solar, Miles Davis. And there's other songs that are commonly played fast too. I'll remember April and, but you have to know the changes, period. The best way to practice the changes is play slow, okay? And what you should be sounding like is you should be able to play solo, unaccompanied, and any person who knows jazz, if they're listening to you, they should be able to recognize what song that you are playing. Your chord tones need to land on downbeats, okay? And your phrasing has to reflect an intelligible understanding of the music, okay? So learn the changes, period. Now, playing fast, I would say that one solid piece of advice if you're playing jazz is resist the temptation to play scales, okay? People have heard that a million times. Nobody likes it. Nobody. Nobody wants to just hear you blow your major scale material. Okay, do not start playing Cherokee. Okay, that sounded kind of cool and that's neat, but that gets old after about 6 seconds. Okay, nobody wants that. Okay, all that it shows is you're just one of these shedder guys who's just shed a bunch of scales, and it kind of lacks like soul or taste, if you will. All right, resist the temptation to play scales. All right, so what do you play? Okay, I would urge you to play short 3 or 4 note phrases on one string. If you have a lack of technique, you can still pull this off. Just practice with your picking hand up and down. Okay, like that. Once you have this down and you're comfortable and you know where your hand is going to rest and you don't have any like little lack of technique problems, okay? Then fill it in with 3, 4 note short phrases, okay? Here's a common jazz phrase. Okay, anybody can do that. If you're out there and you've been playing only a couple years, you can teach yourself how. Okay, just like that. Okay, so learn how to play on one string, 3 or 4 note short phrases, okay? The next thing I would say is sweep, okay? The guitar isn't only made up of limitations. The guitar has some advantages, okay? One of the advantages of the guitar is that we can play arpeggios faster than some people, okay? And the reason is because of the way that our fingers are built and because of the way that the guitar is built. This is a very, very popular multi-use voicing right here, this sound. That major 7 sound right there, this is a multi-use voicing. It doesn't have to just be a major 7, okay? This could be a minor 9. See what I mean? And learn where those are all over the place so you can sweep. Okay. Okay, and that's easy. People with a lack of technique can do that. So learn how to sweep. Learn where the easy arpeggios are that fall under your fingers, okay? So like this minor 7th arpeggio is very okay? Okay? Anybody can do that. So sweep. And then the last thing that I would say is, what are we actually doing when we are playing a super burnin' tune and we are trying to make up for our lack of technique? Well, how do you make up for the lack of technique, okay? If you have a lack of technique, you have to make up for it with thematic playing, okay? Play thematically. It's not hard to play thematically. Just come up with a phrase and stick to it, okay? The phrase that you're playing could be a piece of a chord. Like very common in jazz is like 3, 5, 2. So like, okay? And just stick with that. Try running the whole song with just that kind of boo-ba-doo, boo-da-doo. Try to do it. Okay, didn't really execute it right there like perfectly well, but pick a theme and play it through the entire song. This is something that everybody talks about, but I almost never see anybody do, okay? The last thing that I'll say about how to play fast if you don't have any fast chops is play short articulation. Do not like go like that. It just marks you as somebody with no fast chops. Play the rests. Like think like Miles Davis. The rests are just as important as the notes, okay? If you're articulating the rests, you will sound hot. Okay, right there. That's hot. Easiest thing in the world. What was that? That was thematic playing on just 2 notes. 3rd root. Okay? Anybody could do that. If you've been out there and you've been playing guitar and you actually know where all of the notes are on the fretboard, okay, then anybody out there could do that. And you could do that whole thing through Cherokee, through the bridge, everything. Okay? You're just moving on down, completing the sequence, all right? So those are the 5 things that I would recommend about how to play fast when you don't have any fast chops, okay? Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit me up for a lesson if you want. Peace.